Holy shit, the New Mutants. So, a lot to talk about before I even get into the film. Number one, this thing was delayed how many times? And then it was finally going to come out, and then COVID happened. This movie had a curse on it forever. Now, typically, that really does not bode well, but I had hope for this movie for a few reasons. I thought the director had promise. I love the cast with Maisie Williams and Anya Taylor-Joy, who I would watch in absolutely anything. I liked the premise, an X-Men centered horror film, kind of in the vein of something like Dream Warriors. You know, a bunch of in intimate setting that's kind of a one location film with 6 characters and nothing else. And I was like, wow, okay, this is intriguing. But with all the pushbacks, I was like, oh, I don't know. Usually that's not a good thing. But I was giving it a pass because of the Fox Disney merger and how many times that was kind of delaying it, and then COVID. So I don't feel like at any point I never felt like, because they were talking about reshoots, which I think never ever even ended up happening. I had heard that this thing was going to be R-rated. And then they went for a PG-13, but then I found out that's total bullshit. That never was a thing, and I totally made that up, I guess. Like, even my friends who I thought knew that too were like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, didn't we talk about this? It's like a total Mandela effect for me or something. I swear I remember that, but regardless, it was never going to be R rating. Maybe I just filled that in because of Logan and Deadpool and everything. It's like, why not do an R rating? It's a horror movie, whatever. So yeah, here we are. I can't believe it. New Mutants. It goes into theaters. It's the first movie. It's the first movie released into theaters after the whole COVID thing. I mean, obviously we're still into the COVID thing, but it's the first film that's released. And talk about it, you're back up against the wall. I mean, this film, as I said, it's just been doomed. Doomed from day one. So that all getting out of the way, I talked about that enough. Did I like this movie? Because it's definitely got a split right now. A lot of people are disliking it, hating it. Lee McCoy from Drum Dums hated it. And then other people I know really enjoyed it, or some even loved it. I am actually on the camp of the, almost loving it. I really enjoyed the fuck out of this. I was shocked by this because of how many delays and everything. But as I said, I was giving it kind of the benefit of the doubt, going, wow, I wonder, if it's just, studio problems that's holding this film back and not so much quality. And for me, that's the answer. For me, I think that this thing was pretty rad. But now, take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, because I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this. A ton, in my opinion, is kind of trash to them because of it. And I don't really care. I'm only here to tell you exactly the truth and my feelings on everything. I loved Dark Phoenix. That is one of my more controversial opinions. Almost everyone I know hated it. Only one other guy I know, maybe 2, really loved it or really liked it. And I'm just one of those people. I didn't see the issue. I really enjoyed that a lot. So that being said, New Mutants just really worked for me. Now there's this girl who gets picked up and she's brought to this mental health facility and she's put into the program. And there's just one doctor and there's 4 other patients who are all kids like her, and they're being studied because they're mutants. And this is they're supposed to be 16, 17, somewhere in that area. And they're just coming into their powers. So they're, this is when they're supposed to be at their most deadly. Much like what they say in the film, that, baby snakes are actually deadlier than adult snakes because they don't know how to regulate their venom. They just pump all their venom into a bite. So they become much more deadly. And with these raging hormones, and they don't know how to control their powers and everything, they are much more dangerous. So she's kind of recruiting them for something, or trying to, they think it's like the X-Men. They don't really exactly know what's going on there, but of course things start to go awry. And, at first I was not really feeling our main character here. Just a little bit, right at first. And then as the film progressed, I really did enjoy her. I liked her. I really thought, I was like, oh no, she's gonna be this is gonna be Terminator Dark Fate all over again, where I don't like the main character, but I like everything else about the movie, and that's gonna bog the film down so much that I'm not gonna like the movie. And that ended up not happening. For some reason, she was able to pull together after maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this chick. And then Maisie Williams is great. Anya Taylor-Joy is probably my favorite part of the movie. She's not only sexy and freaking awesome in this flick, but I just really liked her character a whole ton. She's a total bitch. She's the hardened one of the group. She's of course pushing everyone away. Total asshole to every single person in the movie. But this is a straight up horror movie. A full on, right across the board horror film from beginning to end. So if anyone's like, oh, I wonder how much horror this actually is, this is a horror movie with X-Men in it. And I think what's really going to come down to with this film, and what's going to either land with people or it's not, is the characters, which I think is pretty true for a lot of films, but I really think it's extremely true here. Like, I just really was enjoying the characters. I think people will view this as more CW, like melodrama, especially in like the second act, where our main girl and Maisie Williams are having their relationship within this, because they get real close throughout the film, and they're kind of like the two main characters of the film. And I think they might find that to be dramatic and lame, and I don't know. I personally really enjoyed it, so I was not miffed by that in the slightest. But what I loved about the movie was the horror elements. I thought all the horror in this movie, especially the creature design, there's like a couple different creatures in this, one being a giant bear, which looks fucking amazing. I loved the look of this thing. And then there's also these like smiley face demon looking guys, and they look awesome as shit too. Something out of like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode, which they actually kind of reference within this, The Gentleman, if you know the episode. They also kind of look like something maybe out of like a Silent Hill or something. But man, I really, really enjoyed the hell out of this. I just felt like this one really worked. I didn't really have any complaints with it. There were some cringy lines, like just a couple that I'm like, you could have redone that one. You could have restructured that, but yeah, I definitely recommend the shit out of this one. Now, is this worth dying over? Like, are people like, oh my god, should I go to the theater? If you don't think it's safe to go to the theater, you shouldn't go to the theater. And I definitely like understand 100%. I can tell you that in my theater, no one was wearing a mask. We were definitely socially distanced, like 6 feet from one another, but not a single person wore a mask. In fact, the first guy that I encountered was like almost in a full-on fight with the staff because they were asking him to wear a mask, and he was like, this is bullshit. I shouldn't have to wear a mask. And he was like arguing with them and this and that. And I was like, did you really think you weren't going to have to wear a mask? Like, that's crazy to me. But then he went inside and not one single person had a mask on, and they didn't enforce it at all. No one came through. And then I saw Tenet. No, I saw Tenet the night before. I'm sorry. He did that for Tenet. And when I went and saw Tenet, nobody wore a mask. But then New Mutants, no one wore a mask either. So it was very bizarre. But whatever. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. And I just really liked the powers. I liked Anya Taylor-Joy's power as Magic. I thought she looked super rad, and they even like play with another character that she has with her, and they actually like bring it to life. And I was like, holy shit, this gets really weird and cool as well. So I really liked that they went for it. I liked the romance story. I liked it all, man. I really did. So I was genuinely surprised by this movie. I mean, definitely nowhere near as bad as everyone thought it was going to be. There will be a lot of haters. There will be a lot of haters of this movie, but I am not one of them, and I'm very happy to report that. So yeah, I definitely think like if you're on the fence about this one, and you're like wondering, oh, is it horror? The PG-13 didn't bog it down to me at all. I didn't feel like it needed an R anywhere. So yeah, I don't. As I said, only like a couple lines would I change. I was really, really impressed by the FX and the creature designs and all that. I really, really was. I was like, whoa, this is eerie. Like the creatures in this are scary and kick-ass looking, and the CG really worked. Like, wow, I was just so surprised by this. And as I said, it's a full-blown horror movie. So put that fear aside. It is absolutely one, for sure. And so, yeah, let me know if you go and see it. And if you don't, I'm sure it'll be on VOD soon enough. So let me know when you check it out, or if you check it out.